hit record. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Watch it get down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Sergeant, you could come in. You could sit in the front row. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. First is some announcements. We had an executive session April 27th for legal, April 28th about a cell tower, and May 11th also for legal.
Can't really hear you back here.
Oh, thanks. I have a microphone. I forgot. Oh, look, I know the turn on part. I just forgot to use it part. Barry, can you hear me now? Okay. I'll try on for Verizon. Okay, on June 5th, we will be holding a board workshop right here in this room at 7 o'clock with a report from our clean energy transition team on the energy transition planning products that we're getting out of our Vision Partnership grant. And we will also hear from a vendor who has a proposal to put a cell tower here at the municipal building. So that's where we are. I would like a motion to approve the minutes of April 17th.
I would make that motion.
Barry, is she close enough to her microphone?
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion on the minutes of April 17th?
Did the minutes get posted?
Christina, do you know?
I
Yeah.
sent them to Maria on Friday afternoon.
I saw some other, I read the board package. I didn't look for the minutes. So, okay.
I guess the question would be if Maria posted them.
But
We'll ask.
somebody could look, but I'm not going to do it now because we're kind of meeting. All those in favor of approving the minutes of April 17th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Who's your sidekick there who helped you? Well, nameless man, I thank you. We'll now turn this over to Mark for a public hearing.
Thank you, Sarah. The Open Space Lands Act of Pennsylvania requires that if the township wants to spend funds that were collected based on a referendum under that act, that what's called a public hearing. So to that effect, we advertised a public hearing tonight, and that was to consider the acquisition of transfer development rights for open space benefits on tax parcel 253-107.2, consisting of 12.59 acres. And I think that's it. What was the address of that parcel?
1342 Shady Lane.
Okay. The public hearing is just if anyone wants to provide public comment on the possibility of the acquisition of those property rights, then this would be the opportunity for you to provide that comment. So seeing none, Mr. Libero. Who's the owner? John Eldridge. Seeing no further public comment, then we'll close the hearing, and that'll be it for that item.
Okay, we're now ready for the police report. Harris, come up front. I don't know why everybody's so shy. Thank you.
Okay. The West Vincent Township Police Department, April 2023 monthly report. Training, we had terminal agency coordinator training with PSP. Summary totals, number of calls for service, 146. Number of crimes investigated, 6. Number of arrests, 2. Terrorist threats, disorderly conduct, harassment by communication, reckless endangerment, and another disorderly conduct. Number of traffic stops, 106. Number of accidents investigated, 5.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I guess I could ask if anybody had any questions, but they're trained well and if they would raise their hands. Right? Okay, we will now discuss the bills list. Would you like to handle this one, Mr. Ranger? Do we have a motion for the bills list? I guess is what the question is. Never mind.
Need that.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
There was a change in the treasurer invoices for capital project fund to be zero. New total authorized expenditures $945,832.38.
Okay, I will make a motion to authorize the total. Okay, I'm going to authorize a bills list in paying of bills in the total of $945,832.38.
Can I have a second that?
Any discussion? John, come on up.
Okay, the general fund bill was $817,000. The balance of funds only at $750,000. Is there a problem there? Did anybody hear that?
Well,
You might want to check to the microphone, make sure.
Oh,
Oh, it's not.
I heard you. I just was getting to the right page. Want to say it again?
I just noticed. If the general fund bills list is $817,000.
Mhm.
If you look at the general fund funds available, it's $750,000.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman,
Thank you.
the opening balance for the month is $1.1 million. We took in revenue of $426,000. You just subtract this $317,000, get any balance is $750,000.
Looking at the general fund.
End of
It's
$750,000 at the end of the month, it's $750,000. That's my point.
it.
after,
You're gonna spend $800,000.
no, I think he's saying.
That's
after
not also
the
in the general
800
fund.
After the 800. John,
After you spent the bills that you would approve tonight were taken from the April report, and that includes it's included in the $750,000 fund balance at the end of the year, at the end of the month. These are the bills that would have been paid in April. You're approving those bills now. It's not, you're missing the point.
so John.
He would add it.
I think that 1.5 you saw someplace, and if you subtract the 800,000 we're paying, you'll come up with the 700,000, the other way around, that's left. It's an after we pay the bills.
It's all
amount.
prior subtraction.
It's not before we pay these bills. It includes the payment of these bills.
So this fund balance is some future number that you may get to if you pay all the bills.
I
If you pay
believe-
the bills, you have to include the income you might get too. So you're gonna get income, you're gonna pay bills.
I believe those bills are paid inclusive of April 30th. That's why it's an April 30th statement.
Okay. Okay, good point.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. You seconded, I think.
I did.
Okay, I think we had a motion. Any of the questions on the bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. A treasurer's report. Are you?
Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
The general fund had an opening balance of $1,140,920.65. Revenue $426,943.03. Expenses $817,726.84. For an ending balance of $750,136.84. Liquid fuels had an opening balance of $137,143.84. Revenue of $281,307.57. There were no expenditures. Ending balance $418,000. 451.41. The road fund, excuse me, had an opening balance of $3,442,620.36. Took in revenue of $13,150.04. Expenses $22,654.05. Ending balance $3,433,116.35. Sewer fund and an opening balance of $178,981.43. Revenue $1,754.45. No expenses. Any balance $180,735.88. Greenville town had a opening balance of $800,906.19. Revenue of $53,091.48. No expenditures. Any balance $823,997.67. Report I have now.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the treasurer? Yes. Okay. Why don't you let George go first? He was on the move. So.
Actually, I'm just following up on the question John had last week. Forensic report.
Would you please present the full question for the benefit of the minutes?
Yes.
And I think with your
$25,000
with your name and address.
George Delcinos, 1415 Hollow Road.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And the question is?
The question is, spent $25,000 on a forensic audit last month. John asked the question, will we see the results of that? And the answer was, we weren't happy with the statement and we needed to work some more on that, and we don't forget it to you next month. Next month is
here it is today. Yes, I would say we are expecting to have that wrapped up very soon.
We
So
do want
today.
Bernie here too. That's
Not today.
also, yeah.
But I ask, is the results of the report changing?
No, nothing that we.
Information you don't think should be in the public?
No,
For whatever reason, I'm not.
No, George.
No, we're waiting for Bernie as the chairman to be here to discuss that.
So it's ready. It's ready, just waiting for Bernie.
Essentially,
I would say the check is in the mail.
Very close.
Is this
yeah.
You might need to turn on the.
I don't know, I mean.
There's a switch on the side. On this side, maybe.
Do you want to address that at all, Mark? Or just
I think
Yes, that's fine.
it's. Hey.
Question now, the microphone's working.
No, please don't.
I think we heard it. Did you hear the answer that we really are expecting it very soon?
And you're waiting for Bernie to present it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, apparently. So if we had it today, I probably would have told you. So, any other questions on the treasurer's report? Yes. Okay, John.
John Eldridge, 1634 Hilltop Road, Orlando. I go through these reports, and first off, I noticed the fund balance was of all the funds last month was 11,011,100, and there's a $1.6 million increase in the fund balance this month. One of the things you notice that the fund balance in the open space increased by 800,000. Is there any explanation of where all this 1.6 million or the 800,000 came from?
I don't have an answer for that question.
Pardon?
I don't know, John. I can't answer the question.
Okay, and by the way, I sent all these questions and this information to the board earlier. Today, I would do it earlier, except I never get numbers till the day of the meeting or the weekend before the meeting. And the township, we get a report from the township. It has 3 funds are missing, no income or expenses for 3 funds. The report And the general fund shows April activity, no year to date, just the month of April. And it compares it to 2022. And then it repeats it all with the same numbers,
Show it to Mark. Let's
comparing
get a
it
few.
to the budget. And
It's
the
Jackie's
budget column is zero in every
Jackie's
case.
response.
And so, one of the comments here is that the fund and the numbers and we get are so hard to work with. That there's other important issues like why does the police fund almost double? The police expenditures almost double from March to April, or I think the secretary expense doubled or almost tripled from month to month. All the details that we might pay attention to are sort of gone because we can't get good numbers to them. I'll say, and the page, there's an open space page. It shows 10 negative income numbers, minus $73,000 over 10 numbers. It's sort of, I couldn't imagine how those numbers could come, but again, the details of information are lost because we don't have good information. I will say that I had sent an email to the township about questions about open space, and then it went on to, they forwarded on to Keystone Collects, and I think they verified the fact that it should be a 66-33% distribution, plus or minus 1% or less. And as I've said repeatedly, our numbers are way off there.
John,
They did not.
As I said in my email to you, Keystone reconciles their records according to the end of the month. Our records report the activity we receive. So 20 years ago, I could have said checks got lost in the mail. You know, any mail is on ACH, but it still takes an ACH. They collect a month on, let's say, April 30th. They may not disperse an ACH until May 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, and we may not get it for 5 or 6 days later. And it's two ACH checks, not one for the open space and one for the extra money. If they come in separately, separate dates, be reported separately, that is the reason why the numbers are off. We went back and checked our records, matched their records to the penny. It's how things are reported and then when we receive them. That's the difference, John. And I said that in my report. I thought you would have recognized that and would have commented on that as opposed to the discrepancies.
Okay. I'll send you an email that says Keystone says they sent you money in the beginning of February and it never got reported by the township. It's sure there's a timing difference from Friday to Monday or from the end. They do show where they send money out on like January 31st and we reported it in another month, and I can live with that and I can adjust with that. But I think there's other issues that are going to have to be addressed.
I'll reiterate my statement. We match their records to the penny. No missing money. Everything they sent to us has been reported to the penny.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Guess what you're up again? We're looking for a manager's report.
Aside from the items on the agenda, I'd like to make a report that's troubling to the administration. The federal government has added another species to the endangered species list, the long-eared bat. It's significant for a primary reason. When the township begins a construction project, there's what's called the pending. The process to go through to identify endangered species and where their habitat is. The most famous one around is black turtle. We have 2 approved pindies, and we have another project that is going through a pindi now. Federal government has said, even though you have an approved pindi and you're not under construction, you have to revisit your pindi with a long-eared bat. That's significant because there are probably several hundred projects that are approved for pindis but not yet constructed. Everybody is going to have to go through that process and submit another pindi application to the appropriate agency, and they're going to be backlogged. So and there are only so many contractors who can identify the long-eared bat's habitat, and they are all, they're all going to be hired at the same time, and projects is going to be delayed. This is going to delay. Excuse me, could delay the Fellowship Trail, Oak Line Park, and
Cheney Lane
project. They all have pending requirements. So that's just something we have to live with. I'm just making that announcement. If you wonder why those projects aren't moving forward, it's because of the long-eared bat. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Any questions about the bats?
Paris, you can maintain 12 conversion. So, what is pending?
Pending is a Pennsylvania.
Natural.
It's an acronym for a bunch of things. It means you have to look for diversified habitats or species that are on the endangered species list.
Okay.
And if you find that there is a species affected by your project, then you have to make accommodations for that species. And the one that is common around here is bog turtle. You find it, you have to rope off an area so that is like a no-go zone. You can't disturb that area. Bog turtle is it's the habitat. It's not necessarily bog turtle. So I don't know what the long-eared species habitat is. I don't know how far they fly, where they hunt, and that's the issue. Is what is the habitat? Pretty easy to find habitat for a turtle.
So that makes sense to me. My question is, I can understand how this would delay and backlog construction projects.
Right.
But the 3 projects you mentioned, Opalani, Janie Lane, Fellowship Trail, those were the 3.
Yes.
As far as I know, those aren't construction projects. Those are sort of open space projects. So why can they be delayed?
The construction project, you're moving dirt and you're building something. We're not construction as a house, it's construction.
Even if it's a million.
Pavilion, a road, a pipeline, an airport, all that stuff where there's money being spent by government has to go through this process.
But it's also going to delay private construction projects as well.
I don't know about that because if there's private money involved, they probably can skirt this because it's a federal issue dealing with public money.
Gotcha.
And PINDI stands for Pennsylvania Natural Diversity Inventory. It's an environmental review.
PNDI.
Okay.
PNDI.
All right. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, no problem.
Anything else? I think I need a motion about the resolution 9-2023, the Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the resolution 9-2023 Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement, member of Chester County Emergency Response Commission.
I will second that. Is there any discussion? Any question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, there is a typo in the next one, and Dan will fix it when she makes the motion. I'd like a motion to adopt resolution 11/2023 to approve the acquisition of transfer development rights in the amount of $128,000 for tax parcel 20.317.2.
I would like to make the motion to adopt, or to approve, adopt resolution 120. Wait, put notes all over this. Okay, start over. I would like to make a motion to adopt resolution 11/2023 to approve acquisition of transfer development rights in the amount of $128,000 for tax parcel 25-3-107.2, 12.59 acres.
I second that. Any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor? Oh, wait, Karis.
Karis has one.
Oh, you missed when Barry asked
Yeah.
before, and it's John Eldridge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. All those in favor?
Aye.
I could do this one, give you
Okay.
a little break. I'm going to make a motion for regarding the final release of the performance bond related to the wastewater facilities at the courts of Chester Springs in the amount of $381,150.
I think you skipped one though.
Oh, I skipped one.
No,
The zoning hearing. board?
I went to 7.
we're number 7.
I did
Okay.
7. Which one did I?
No,
Oh,
okay, you're right.
I'm right.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I
Twice in a
can't, they're
row.
all running together the way this is hard.
Would you be willing to second that one?
If I could just point out, I think we've had some back and forth with the engineer Arrow, and actually there was a release number 3 about a year ago. So somehow the developer made the request for the wrong number. The correct number to release is 12,100.
Oh,
Well, that's
So
a
it's
big
significantly
difference.
less than.
should
Do we need to change
holding
it?
this off?
No, we've reviewed it. I don't know how that number made it.
All right, so can you give us a specific amount of the final release?
$12,100.
Even?
Yes.
Do you want me to just read it from there?
Sure.
Okay, so I will make a motion then to approve the final release of performance bond related to wastewater facilities in the courts of Chester Springs in the amount of $12,100.
I'll second that.
Far better.
Any questions other than mine?
The obvious.
How did this happen?
Yeah.
Like,
Pretty big
you and I are
difference.
really in sync tonight, aren't we?
does it even need to be stated for the record? How did the discrepancy happen?
You have to ask the developer. I don't know why they made that. We have a spreadsheet that we work from. And if you look at the last release, which was a year ago, there was only 12,100 left. So you can't release 381,000 if we wanted to. We're not holding it.
Well, I'd like to ask if we wrote the check already.
We'll check for
Well, we
you.
don't write a check. And technically, we just say that it's reduced.
Right.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Can I just mention one thing, that there is documentation online that the letter that they actually sent from Ripley, right for Holland, actually stated in 381, so that was not an error on our part.
Yes.
And if
I'm
you-
glad it was followed
if
up.
you talk to Allison.
Yeah, we straightened that out now.
Okay, thank you.
We just missed it in our notes. Here's.
Okay. We don't need to make this a motion. I'm going to acknowledge the receipt of zoning hearing board application for 986 and 990 Pottstown Pike. It says Pothouse. There's much more to it than that because that's just the first word of their name, Pothouse Kimberton LLC. I believe the date for that hearing has been set. Is that 25th of May? Does anybody know for sure? Okay, so that's just right around the corner. There will be a zoning hearing meeting on that. All I'll make a motion to authorize bids for stormwater improvements and paving of Floating Springs and Hilltop roads.
And I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You can have the next one.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 13-2023, establish trail plan implementation ad hoc committee.
I'll second that.
Any questions on that?
Questions?
Like, Larry?
Can you explain what the committee is? What it will actually be, what its duties will be?
I'm going to give you a very short version. It's only a page.
I can give you the
document.
resolution.
But the
No, just what it is.
we, as you will undoubtedly know, we developed a trail plan for the township. This is to get together a group of people to help with the implementation thereof. And this is not trail clearing. This is getting the right of ways and finding, we identified gaps where we've got a trail that stops here and starts a quarter of a mile further. So to help work out the connections and get those trails, more of our trails connected and completed.
And how many will be on the committee?
Fine.
Would you like me to read the powers and duties? Is that helpful?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Sure. The committee shall serve solely in the advisory capacity to advise the Township Board of Supervisors on the manner and locations to implement the trail plan. Such recommendation may include extensions of existing trails, the construction of trails on land owned eased by West Vincent Township, and the location and size of trailheads. Further, the committee may recommend purchasing on easing land for trails, seek legal engineering and planning assistance, and suggest coordination with funding and conservation entities for regional and circuit connection. The committee shall report to the township manager.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
Thank you. Kurt Rival, 668 Burkett Road. I have a question about ad hoc committees. There have been numerous of them in the past. My question is, do these committees have budgets?
And
This committee will have a budget next year. Won't have much activity this year because it's not existing yet. The ad hoc committee is committee that is opposed to the standing committee is the committee that's established for a definite task or a definite period of time. Once the time's done, the committee goes away.
Do you suspect that this trail ad hoc committee will work hand in hand with Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec was part of creating the trail plan, and there will undoubtedly be coordination with them. But this is different from.
So the answer is yes.
There will be
some
there
coordination.
will, of course.
Okay. That's it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this one's fun. I make a motion to authorize advertisement for ordinance 204-2023, amending the duties and responsibilities of the Environmental Advisory Council.
And I will second that.
Any questions? Here comes George.
I saw what was posted, the ordinance, but what's different from what it was before?
It's pretty simple. The old ordinance had, the EAC had responsibility for the environment, plus Parks and Rec, plus open space, plus sustainability.
It's left over from before those existed.
From 1992. So we took out sustainability, wasn't it? It's a different one. Oh, history. So as you remember, before the commission was set up, history had to go back to the EAC because that's what it said. So we have a historical commission, so it's been taken out of
So you're limiting
We're-
functions that are handled by other committees.
We are establishing the focus of the EAC.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so this one should have been up with number 10. We will be looking for volunteers to serve on the trail implementation ad hoc committee. This says we're looking for letters of interest. There is a volunteer application form on the website. That would be the best way to have it submitted so it gets safely to the office.
It doesn't look like the sustainability mention is in here. We're gonna add that in for the members.
Oh,
We're gonna,
I think
Resignation.
remind me when we get,
it's
but
not on here.
we're in new business.
Okay.
We're going to acknowledge the resignation of Andrew Kreider from the Sustainability Committee. So that will, you know, if you get on that volunteer application page and see other things that might be fun for you, feel free to sign up for more than one, because it looks like we're going to need help on several committees. I'm going to read this and then let you do it. We are announcing the change of date and location for the Community Day, West Vincent's Community Day. We're just reporting, John, though this is not a vote, right?
Not the vote.
But we need to.
Okay, how about I make a recommendation that we change the date and location for Community Day to October 14th, 2023 at Opalani Park. And can I explain about that right now, or is that okay? Okay, so basically it did come to our attention that there was another event that was proposed to be held at Ludwig's Corner. And I believe one of the promoters was a resident of ours. It's a big event that was very similar in kind to ours on the same date. And, you know, we felt it would be prudent for both parties to help them out, to help us out to move the date so that we weren't in competition with each other. So we moved ours up a week. Hopefully we get the good weather and it's not windy. And we did ultimately decide to go back to Opalani Park. I was the one who was against that, but I have been convinced that there are sufficient reasons why we really should not be doing it at Evans Park at this time. And we're going to look at it as a soft opening for Opalani, see what kind of people we can generate there and how that works in preparation for our formal opening next year. So I make a motion that we do that.
I think you got it out of sequence.
I did.
You made a recommendation. So you're making a motion that we announce the change. Well, how about I just do that, because otherwise I'm going to fix yours. I'm making a motion to change the date and location of Community Day to October 18th, 2023 at Opalani Park.
You know, second that, the 14th. 14th.
Thank you.
And
all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. I make a motion to adopt resolution, and try numbers again, see if I can get it right. Resolution 15-2023, modifying the fee schedule to eliminate escrows from stormwater management applications.
And I will second that.
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have received recommendations from the Sustainability Committee for 2 initiatives. I think we can discuss them one at a time, but I'll announce them both now. One is to consider a single hauler for trash collection, and the second is an ordinance to regulate single-use plastic bags in the township. So we're looking for thoughts from the floor, please. We'd like to hear residents' input on this. we're gonna be talking about it for a while, so you can think now and talk to us next month if you'd like. I think it'd be really good if I can talk while he's getting here. If you have thoughts, please put them in writing, send them to the office, particularly with Bernie not here, but since this is going to drag out over time, that would allow us to assemble thoughts together and be able to have a more coherent review and discussion. So, Mr. Barry.
A few years ago, there was a
Task force
that put together a bunch of investigation on that, and they overwhelmingly came back with no on the single hauler option. What would have changed now in the few short years that it's been that we now want to do a single hauler?
We have a different sustainability committee. This is a recommendation from sustainability to the board. We are honoring that recommendation and we're going to look into it, and we would love help from our residents. But yes, what do we call it before, the trash task force did come up with that recommendation.
Yeah, overwhelming.
I mean, that was at least what, 5, 7 years, more than that.
No, it's more than that.
Maybe 10 years ago.
So more than that.
7.
5 to 7. Yeah. So okay. So there is no real evidence of anything. They're looking into it.
We have, yes, it's a recommendation from the sustainability.
Well,
but
that's not really true though, because
I have recommended that the sustainability committee look at the report of the trash task force so that they understand what the attitude and findings in the township were then. Well,
and also our population has changed, which our regulations for recycling have changed. So they're looking into all of these issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Kirk.
Kirk Rangel again, 668.
Thank you. Virtual.
Single hauler, I think that the task force was like 6 years ago, and it was reviewed. I'm not sure if it was unanimous as discussed. We've been looking at, I'm not on the committee anymore, but I do realize that they have been looking at this for about a year or so. Looking at a single hauler has been recommended by the county planning commission. It's also part of landscapes 3. Since the last trash task force, there have been numerous developments added, ports of Chester Springs among many. I guess the question I have is, do you have any ideas on next steps for what you're going to ask the sustainability committee to do? Or is it that's discussion?
That's, you mean in regards to this particular issue?
Yes.
They're going to help us listen to our residents and help make recommendations of what might be an ordinance should we decide that we need one.
Have you laid that out to them?
We just got their recommendations. They met last month. They meet 2 days from now. So on Wednesday, they'll hear that we had this discussion tonight. But we don't mandate what they do.
You make recommendations.
Yes, they've made a recommendation to us now. So, okay, we did single haulers. Anybody have any thoughts they'd like to share on the single-use plastic side? I'm so glad you said it.
Carol Egan again. I actually have a comment on both the single hauler and the single-use plastic. I attended the sustainability sponsored conference on the single-use hauler. I believe that was maybe,
That's further.
yeah, maybe like 8 or 9 months ago. And I can't remember all of the data and the hard numbers, but I do remember leaving that meeting feeling convinced that as a municipality, it's in our best interest to move to a single system. It makes sense economically, and that it will save its residents some money in our monthly or quarterly trash bill. And it also makes sense in terms of the wear and tear on the road, the environmental impact. We will also have more control in terms of specifying that we're accepting bids for containers that have lids, for example. And as a member of the litter lifters who picks up trash along our roadways, I know some of that trash is, just tossed out of the windows, but some of it is also caused by receptacles tipping over because they don't have lids. So there are numerous benefits. I was also swayed that a majority of Chester County municipalities, both boroughs like Westchester and more rural municipalities like Willistown have switched to the single hauler system because they recognize the benefits. So this isn't some kind of big government scheme to come in and tell us how to live our lives. There's just very good pragmatic and environmental reasons. I live on a quiet country road that currently has 3 contracts, so that we have 3 different days where there are 3 different huge, noisy, polluting trucks driving down the road at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, and to have just one come once a week or once a whatever it is, and have it also cost less money is desirable to me personally. On the single-use plastic issue, again, as a member of the Environmental Advisory Committee, as a litter lifter, just as a concerned citizen of this planet, I recognize what a scourge plastic is on our environment. And there's a lot, this is a very, very small step. I'm not sure in our township how impactful it will be because other than Wawa, we don't have a whole lot of businesses. But it is something that I support for what that's worth. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, come on, Elizabeth, you got her hand up first and then Kirk again of 668 Bertrand Road.
Oh, we got blocked.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Ashian, 2618 Florence Springs Road. I'm all in favor of being on the EAC of the environmental benefits, but I would like to find out if they move forward with the single hauler, how is the free market being addressed? Well, at the beginning, they might facilitate that at cost. Once it's established, is there a risk that the prices will increase at the discretion of the single hauler? And with the single-use plastic, I don't like that. But there are health concerns. So when the resolutions are proposed, I would like to hear answers to those topics if possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kirk Rival, 668 Bertrand Road. I just want to add some facts to this. Single hauler in our county is fairly rare. There are not a lot of townships, a lot of boroughs, but I mean, I'm not saying it's really rare, but there are more boroughs that are private hauler versus under contract. Okay. I currently, for just a one dwelling, pay $49 a month currently. I know that Weatherstone, who got a contract, could have been paying only $18 a month. I don't get it. So I called AJ Luzinski, they said, well, you're not under contract. That's all it is. Okay. I mean, Weatherstone, $31 would have been once a week pickup. But there were a few people in the minority who didn't like that. So now it's twice a week pickup and they're paying $39. So for a few minorities, they're paying $8 for every single person. Okay, those are the numbers. There was a slide presentation given on December 21st. I believe we have a video of that. Dave has a video of that. And I don't know if it's posted anywhere, but.
And that was Patty Lynn
Patty Lynn and Bob Potts
from the Chester County.
Solid Waste Authority.
Thank you.
Did they ask us not to post it?
They did not. They gave us a copy of their PowerPoint presentation, but they said kind of keep that internal.
Okay, so we can post the presentation, but not the.
Say anything about that. But I will let the board figure out if they want to ask for the video.
Thank you very much.
What are you gonna do?
Any other comments now? Here comes John.
Down Alfred 1634, Little Top Road. Just as a matter of interest, I have Valinsky picks up my trash once a week. I pay $0. But I have the right, well, I had the capability to fill up a black bag, put a sticker on it, and the sticker is $4. And so every month or once in a while, I fill up a black bag and I put it out, I call them and they pick it up. But other than that, weekly, it's free if it's recyclable materials. So just not of interest.
Thank you very much. You're not alone. I've heard of some other people in the township that are essentially paying by the bag.
Yes, they pay for a bag.
But you don't pay for recycles.
No, recycling's free.
Free.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool stuff. But as I said before, when these thoughts on this come to you, please send them to office@westvincentTWP.org and feel free to put trash or plastic or both in the subject line. Anything else before we move on? The next item says set the date of, so I am setting the date of June 19th, 2023 for the conditional use hearing. But I cannot pronounce this. Julia, can you pronounce the name of your neighbors?
Section.
Oh, thank you.
Tracy was trying to teach me that.
That's all.
Okay. Application for stormwater facilities in the steep slope on their property. And we don't have it here, but it's at the corner, one of the corners on Flowing Springs Road. That's going to be, that's our regular June board meeting that then conditional use hearing will be had. And we'll have some other things then too, I'm sure. Any public comments tonight? Come on in.
Hi, my name is Ellen Scott. I live at 1743 Flint Road. I made a few notes so I could make sure that a couple of points out that many people have asked me to put in front of all of you, and I'm sorry for these. Flint Road, for those of you who haven't been on it, runs from St. Matthews to Kimberton. It's as much of a recreational byway as it is a roadway. There are walkers, hikers, horseback riders, runners, walkers and joggers with strollers, and walkers and joggers with dogs on leashes. And there's Bryn Coed, the Natural Lands Preserve, with over 500 acres of preserved land and about 9 miles of publicly accessible hiking and trails on either side of Flint Road for about half the road. And there are 2 pedestrian crossings that are used for the Bryn Coed visitors. One of which is on a corner of Flint Road. Bryn Co-ed brings more hikers and runners and walkers and joggers and horseback riders and dogs on leashes. So Flint Road, in addition to all of that recreational activity, has traffic. And traffic that is as a result of the township's complete revision and reconstruction of the road in 2018 is traffic that goes way too fast. The construction vehicles and the moving vans, big, heavy trucks, are probably the worst. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour. And just kind of the gawkers that are looking at the fields and the beautiful tree that's on Flint Road, not too many people go 25 miles per hour. Some people go 35, but that's 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, and it's too fast given some of the natural features of Flint Road. Many people shoot by at 45 miles per hour and some faster. The commuters, the construction crews, and frankly the chickens. They don't slow down for people walking their dog, for people just walking. And if you wave and scream at them, it's just a useless exercise. The 25 mile per hour speed limit signs are another useless exercise. Someone is going to get hurt. And you, the supervisors, and Chief Slanger, and the town manager, who I have had the pleasure to speak with about this, are on notice. Flint Road has 4 dangerous features. There are the 2 pedestrian crossings at Bryn Co-ed, one of which is on kind of a blind curve. There's the narrowing of the road right in front of my house, where the trees are really close and there's not a lot of room and people don't slow down. And then there's the blind hill that prevents motorists coming from one direction from seeing what's on the other side of it, and the same for the motorists coming the other direction for seeing what's coming at them. So when you go over that, you just have to hope that the coming towards you are on their side of the road. And really hope that they're not going too fast that they can't make a correction if they're kind of coming down the middle of the road. I was told by a friend that she was approaching one of the Bryn Co-ed pedestrian crossings at the curve in the road, and a child darted out into the crossing. She jammed on her brakes and nobody was hurt, but it freaked her out because she almost hit something there, and she wasn't even going fast. I was told by a guy walking past my driveway that he was walking his dog and a car or truck, not sure which, came flying over that blind hill, causing him to leap off the road with his dog to avoid getting hit. And he's like, geez, I almost got killed. And I think Karis has her own story that I'll let her tell after I finish. There are accidents being narrowly avoided, and I'm sure that there are accidents just waiting to happen. I will mention that word again, notice. The residents and landowners on Flint Road, who I have spoken with and who I know share this sentiment, would like to see the township install speed bumps on Flint Road. Please don't shake your head. I have reasons why.
I moved my head to write down speed bumps.
The slow rolling. And I've been advised by the township that it's opposed to speed bumps for the following reasons. And I don't believe any of these reasons are justified or legitimate. One reason is that speed bumps impede emergency vehicles. If that were a legitimate concern, why are speed bumps used in other townships for traffic calming and traffic control? And recently I've had occasion to witness fire trucks coming to my house and an ambulance coming to my neighbor's house to address emergency issues. They're not going fast. They're not speeding. I've also heard that speed bumps are hard for snowplows. Again, if that's really the case, why do other townships in our snowfall area have speed bumps with traffic calming? And if the township puts speed bumps on Flint Road, I've been told that, well, if we do it on Flint Road, everybody's going to speed bump, and we won't be able to say no. But that's not a legitimate concern either. Flint Road is easily distinguishable, and for that reason would not serve as valid precedent for other requests. Flint Road has a large nature preserve on both sides of the path of the road. Flint Road is highly recreational, and Flint Road has naturally dangerous features: the blind hill, the pedestrian crosswalks, the narrowing of the road. Finally, I would note that the township has sunk a lot of money into Flint Road. It's completely reconstructed. And I would think that the supervisors would want to slow down the heavy construction vehicles and the trucks to preserve the roadbed. So please take Flint Road into consideration and actually do something. Everyone I have spoken with feigns concern and acknowledges the problem, but nothing happens. We'll put police to monitor the traffic. Sporadically, that's been done. There hasn't been any vehicle speed monitoring since before the pandemic, and at that time they clocked people going 60 miles an hour. The speed limit is 25 and it should be enforced. 35 is too fast, but I was told that police don't ticket you unless you're going more than 10 miles over the speed limit. Yes, that's just good to know, right? And I don't believe the township has hired an engineer to consider a solution, which was something I was also told. So, don't just agree with us, the residents and landowners and natural lands. What are the next steps for addressing Flint Road? What can we do to be helpful? You need signatures, you need videos. What are the next steps, and what do we actually have to do to get the township to pay attention? Something that would naturally meaningfully deter the speeding. The residents, the landowners, and natural lands are all in favor of meaningfully placed speed bumps, and we hope that you will act on our suggestion. And now, Paris can tell you what it's like to be a recreational jogger.
So,
Tag team. Did you know you were tag teaming tonight?
But as my address makes obvious, I don't live on Flint Road, so I'm not advocating for speed bumps on my road in front of my house. I am one of those frequent drivers and pedestrians and joggers and bike riders that use Flint Road frequently. And I am very concerned with the blind hill in particular. And the one key data point that was perhaps missing from Ellen's eloquent presentation is that the road there narrows and it essentially becomes almost a one-lane road, maybe a lane and a half. So you have a blind hill narrowing at the crest to a one-lane road. And I have personally experienced at least 2 times a truck barreling over that hill, not even really in the middle of the road, but it's just so narrow, unless you're all the way over, you're not clearing. And if there is a car going fast and not paying attention, you have to hope that you can swerve off the road, which I have had to do. But I am concerned that it is really just a matter of time and physics before there is a collision at the crest of that hill. Something needs to be done for that hill because it is a township road. The township is liable. It either needs to be widened so that it is a full 2-lane hill, which I don't even know if that's possible from an engineering perspective, or there needs to be something to slow traffic down. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's just a matter of time. I have a 16-year-old who is learning to drive as we speak. And I have to coach him. You pull all the way over and you have to slow down to 15 at that hill. The blind curve where the crossing is a concern. If I don't know why Natural Lands chose that, but that's on Natural Lands. I understand there's a general opposition to speed bumps, but I think this is a very specific safety concern in a specific location. And I don't know, maybe there needs to be an ad hoc committee to talk about roads with problematic areas. I mean, people speed on my road too, and I'm not here asking for speed bumps. This is a real safety concern. And there's a problem with the road that either needs to be addressed, or, I mean, honestly, I think the simpler and less expensive solution would be to put speed bumps up. But something needs to be done because it's really not safe.
And can I just mention that Chief Swinninger did start a road safety committee recently, and this is definitely something that should probably be brought up there as well.
Good. And I have to also credit, I believe it was Mike Hoga, when I sent the email to the board a year or so ago about my scary encounter on the crest of that hill. And I said, like, there's not even space as a runner or a pedestrian to get over. I'm pretty sure it was Mike Hoga, because I CC'd him on the email, who cleared out the brush, but now it's grown back up. That's the other scary thing, is there's no place to get over.
Hey, can I also ask, is there, where you're talking about that blind hill, is there currently any kind of a speed advisory or a curve ahead sign or anything like that?
No,
currently?
there's no, like, I mean, at the very least, there needs to be a blind hill or a caution sign. But I am very skeptical about how effective that will be. People are already ignoring the 25 miles per hour. So if you put slowing down further from there, I mean, if you don't know, you just fly over that hill and someone's gonna get killed. And I don't want to see that happen, obviously.
Thank you, Terrence. Ellen, can you come on back up?
I was just gonna say, Ellen Scott, Flint Road, that there is a recommended speed limit of 15 as you go from Kimberton Road to the top of the Blind Hill. But I was talking to Chief Swinninger about it, and he's like, well, it's recommended. You can't really enforce a recommended slowdown. So it doesn't really make a difference.
But at least it's there visually, so somebody might realize that there's a curve ahead.
Yeah, so
thank you.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I think
not currently.
And Barry's backing you up now.
Yeah, I got you. What's done in a lot of townships and boroughs, in fact, if you drive down through Coatesville on First Avenue, one of the things that slows down people is, and it's very economical, is to get the lit digital sign, the small ones. They got the radar pickup on it, work like a champ. A lot of them are solar, they are also battery, some are wired. I'm telling you, it knocks the speed down and it's cheap. You do one on each end for the people like might start to amp up the speed a little bit, and then it's kind of there. Oh, what happens? So it's the same thing. If that thing flashes, that's your warning. There might be a cop up there, and that's the big thing. And it would be very economical, and that would probably be your first good step to see how much it slows down. Because I'll tell you, when somebody gets hit, it's going to be a problem for everybody. So, and that's cheaper than speed bumps right now.
Thanks for the suggestion. Yeah. Any other business from the room? Because I can tell Cindy is just waiting to get us out of here so they can set up for the poll tomorrow.
I don't have to make an announcement of that, but do I?
Tomorrow is election day and we got to get out.
We feel the pressure.
So is there any other business from the board? Wheeler just came for a night out. Okay, good. All right, I have a motion to adjourn.
I would like to second that.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
People wanted to give it the hand.